Hello, and welcome to this video on our Ames Online D2L upgrade. So this video will cover some of the new features that'll be coming. But first I want to mention our Ames Online upgrade is scheduled to happen December 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So D2L will be turned off during that time and will be unavailable to access. And again, that's December 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And note that is after grades are due. Alright, so let's go over some of the changes. So first in content, what I want to mention is that course schedule. This is a new name here. It used to be upcoming events, but it is now named to course schedule. And the other thing that's different in the course schedule, this is for the students, is that they're going to see an overdue field here if they have assignments that they haven't submitted but that are still available. So let me just go into the demo student and show you what this looks like. So I'm going to click on course schedule and I can see that I have two assignments that are overdue. So in order for this to happen, these assignments have to be linked from content. So they have to be available in content for the students, and they have to have the start, end date, and the overdue. And the end date still has to be available for students to see this. So that's our first change. All right, let me go back to my view, and then we're going to go over to the discussions. And this one is going to be a pretty minor change. But what's actually got restored here is you can actually delete multiple discussions at one time. So this is pretty handy if you're having to redo a course. You can select all of them at once and hit delete. Okay, and that's all the changes for the discussions. Now I'm going to go to the Dropbox, and I'm going to say this is going to be our biggest change this year, and this is for Turnitin. Turnitin is moving to a new integration that's called an LTI. We previously used API, but we're now moving to LTI. We'll still have the old integration so we can access our old assignments, but it's going to use a new integration. And so what that means is that Turnitin has its own separate. So once I create the Dropbox folder, I simply click on the Turnitin tab here, which is brand new. Then I will click to enable Turnitin for this folder. And so once it enabled, you can set up more options and configure originality check and grade mark functionality. So if I go and click on more options, what it's going to list here, give you an option if you want to allow a submission of any file type. You can select yes or no. These are just saying what the dates are in the Dropbox, as well as the due date and the grade. So if I click optional settings here, I'm going to get a few more options here. So the section you're pretty much used to seeing, and what you'll probably come into here mostly, is for compare submitted papers against the following sources. So previously it was user database, and that was been renamed to student paper repository. Current and archived website content, that's pretty much the same. And then periodicals, journals, and publications. Now the one field they did add was this institution student paper repository, and basically what that means, this will store papers under our account, and that's where it will be checked against papers against other students. So, and then there's some other more options here. You can generate reports immediately, or you can wait until the due date, or you choose resubmissions. Another option is submit the assignment will be stored in the student paper repository, and then that will against this other option up here, institution paper repository. So whenever they submit to at a future date and instructor checks this option, it'll check against the papers in our account. And so then we also have our grammar check down here that we can set. Once you're satisfied with these, you simply click Submit, and then we'll be back onto this next screen. And so from now we can configure our originality recheck. By default, it's not checked, so we'll need to check allow learners to see Turnitin scores in their Dropbox folder. If you choose to, you can set automatic originality checking on all submissions, or you can just identify individual submissions. And then if you're using GradeMark, you can determine when you make that available to your learner. And that's it for all the changes in the Dropbox. And like I mentioned, Turnitin, this is probably going to be our biggest change. So we'll be having tutorials on that, and feel free to contact us at ool.team@ames.edu if you need assistance for this. Grades, there's not any changes in that. Groups, there's just a couple minor changes. So once I click on new category, I can click, I can just type a name here, and the one field that's changed here is the number of groups, capacity of, with self-enrollment. This is the only change I've seen from the instructor end on the groups. So if you click that, you can designate the number of users per group, and then also the number of groups that you would want. And then the other small changes here, you can set a self-enrollment expiration date, and if you choose to set that, then you can actually allocate your unenrolled users. They will automatically be enrolled into groups, so if they just didn't enroll in groups after that date, they'd be automatically enrolled in there. And then I'll click Save. And for the students, there's just a few minor changes in the groups. It's just a matter of button clicks when they're joining. So I need to go in as an actual student, so let me do that. So if I go back to groups here, I will click on View Available Groups, as opposed to what it used to show you enroll in that name of the group. So I click View Available Groups, and from here I can join which group I want. So that's it for the changes on the groups. So let's go to the quizzes now. The first thing I'll mention on the quizzes, if you're using Respondus Lockdown Browser, you can now exempt your students from requiring Lockdown Browser when taking a quiz, so for individual students, so that might be pretty useful to you. So let me go and create a new quiz here, and everything's the same on this page, so I'm going to go to the Restrictions tab, and that's where the changes are going to be a little bit different. So if I scroll down now under Timing, this is what's actually changed. So under Timing, I've got two options, no time limit and enforce a time limit. So I'm going to go ahead and enforce a time limit. I get some other options as late, because before it was previously labeled as normal, use a late limit, and auto submit. So this is a little bit more descriptive now. So the first option, the student can continue working after the time limit is up. The second one is, this will be more similar to the auto submit. They're prevented from making further changes and will be prompted to submit. And the third option I probably wouldn't recommend is, once the time limit expires, and this, the student will actually receive a 0 for that. So that's actually all the changes for the quiz tool, just the wording, so that's not that many changes. Alright, so let's go to Edit Course. There's a couple new enhancements here that are going to be fairly useful to you. So this is going to be when you're copying a course. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Search for Offering and find one I want to copy. Add selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Select Components. And then, so for the Dropbox, I'm going to copy that But now I'm also going to get this include associated files, and you're also going to get this in content either. So previously, if you selected individual, Dropbox or content items, you also had to select the course files that went along with it. But by default now, once you just check those boxes, those files associated with it will be automatically copied. So I'm just going to choose a couple. So I'll just select all, and then I'm going to hit continue. Finish. And so now actually the second part is I can actually navigate away from this, so I can go back to content, and then I can actually wait for these to finish to copy. So I don't have to wait on that page like we previously did. All right, and the last feature I'm going to highlight, see back on the course home will be the news. I'm actually going to go to the news tool. Under the more actions button here, we have a restore option, so we can actually restore news that we have previously deleted. All right, and that's it for the changes. Thanks for watching, and so if you have any questions, feel free to contact the Office of Online Learning at ool.team@ames.edu, and we'll address any concerns and questions that you may have. Thanks for watching.